Hello everyone, I just thought I'd leave a little message before the video begins because I've got a couple little things to say and it's a bit of a shame. My big Blue Yeti microphone, which I've been using for over 2 years now on YouTube, it's a beautiful, beautiful bit of kit, and it's stopped working. And by stopped working I mean it works, but it has a sound in the background. Here's a little example of that. So it's either that or I use this little tiny lapel mic for my videos from now on. This is what I'm talking through now, it's what I'll be talking through in this video and probably the next few after that. So big apologies for this slight quality reduction, although it is still watchable, it is still fine. The video and opinions have not changed or anything like that. It just means the audio quality will slightly be a little bit more naff. So if you're alright with that and you can put up with that, thank you very much. If you can't put up with that, bye. I hope you enjoy the video, and yeah. Hello everybody, I am Ace Creeper and today I'm back with another Doctor Who list ranking. This is one that it's fair to say I haven't really been looking forward to, and that is down to the fact that I just know people won't agree with me on it. So this is one that's been asked for a while. I did it last year and now I'm doing it again, and now that series 12 is out because a lot of you have been asking for it. So this is my Doctor Who modern series list ranking video from worst to best, in my opinion. Let's put that out there straight away. Please do not be offended if your least favourite season is in the top 5 or even number 1, because it might just be the case. This is just my opinions, I'm just listing what I think. You don't have to agree with it, that's perfectly fine if you don't agree with it. There's no worries about that at all, and if you disagree I'm not going to be angry at you. There doesn't have to be any drama, let's just enjoy talking about Doctor Who and discussing it during this sort of lockdown period. This video is going to be ranking from worst to best. Obviously it's my opinions and you probably will disagree because there's 13 different slots. We've got all 12 series and the specials included in this, so yeah, there's going to be millions of different combinations you could stack these 13 series in, technically. But no, we're just going to go through my personal worst to best. Spoiler alert, Jodie's series is not at the bottom, so if that disappoints you straight away, then I'm sorry, this video might not be for you. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get right into it. With number 13, Series 7. Oh boy. It's very well documented that Series 7 is basically my least favourite series. It tries so hard in certain areas, and there are standouts, you know. This series does have standouts. It has the first half, which despite a few you know, flunks, is actually pretty decent. The Town Called Mercy, Angels Take Manhattan and the Snowmen are pretty good. That's kind of about it. I do like some of the Amy and Rory ones. There's a few flunks, obviously Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, Power of 3, Asylum of the Daleks are a bit meh in my opinion. And then the rest of the series is the whole Clara thing, and to me the Clara and 11th Doctor dynamic never really worked. It's also been very well argued through Twitter and all that sort of thing that the 11th Doctor had a really weird personality shift during the latter half of this series, and it really was kind of off if you look back on it. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's a bit dodgy and it's a little bit weird, so I'm not going to sort of jump into it because obviously it's not totally intended, but it hasn't aged the best, let's just say. It's a decent series and it does try its best. It reintroduces the Ice Warriors, which is quite exciting. It plays with the whole Impossible Girl thing, which I'm not a big fan of. And you know, I don't really like Clara as a companion, so that is going to drag a lot of series down for me. But Series 7 just felt like such a... It just felt like a mess, and although like you look at Series 11, which we'll get to, as sort of like a sort of moderately bland series, like I'd rather have bland than genuinely aggravating episodes like the Crimson Horror and the Bells of St. John, which I just cringe, and it's just it's just painful to watch. In 12th place we have Series 6 of Doctor Who. Again, not too well documented I suppose on my half, because Series 6 there are a lot of ones that I really do like. The Doctor's Wife, the 2-part opener, the God Complex. There are quite a good few episodes in this, and it's fair to say as well, Series 6 as a Doctor Who fan was sort of like my peak. Before I, you know, joined YouTube and did all Doctor Who stuff on YouTube, which obviously I'm like the biggest fan of Doctor Who I've ever been now because I have to make videos about it and talk about it, that I just get so immersed in that sort of world. But as a kid, Like, the big series for me was Series 6. That's when I was a real proper, like, Doctor Who fan as a kid. So it kind of sticks out to me as, like, one of the good ones. But on rewatch, and looking at the quality of a lot of the episodes, it just doesn't hold up as well. It's very Stephen Moffat, and I think that basically just sums up. It depends on what your taste in Doctor Who is, but for me, my taste in Doctor Who isn't very Stephen Moffat-y, if you ask me. It's not a terrible series. It's definitely got a few good bits in there, and the story tries to be complex. I love the thing about River Song being Amy and Rory's daughter. It's a really nice and kind of big twist for Doctor Who that we never really had. We had twists before then, but like big reveals and all that sort of thing. It's quite exciting to have in TV shows, and that sort of Melody Pond twist actually wasn't a bad twist. Like, it worked. They just didn't go anywhere with it, and that was a sort of big problem for me. The series has a few good bits, mostly a bit crap, but you know, it does the trick, but that's why it's this low down on the list. In 11th place, this is where it's going to start to get a little bit unpopular, is Series 8. Now, Series 8 is a weird one for me. I really enjoyed it when it first came out. On rewatch, I just don't like it as much. It's such a horrible thing because people are going to judge me so hard for this. The best thing about this series is Capaldi. The second best thing about this series is Michelle Gomez. Everything else just kind of feels, ugh, it's just like it's there. Like, Clara is fine, totally changes her personality, but fine. She does boss the Doctor about a bit, but, you know, fine. She has a relationship, I think. I mean, it's the least convincing character writing for a relationship that I've seen in a while. It's not terrible, you know what I mean? It's definitely not the worst thing I've ever seen. I've seen worse relationships crafted on TV and film before, and least convincing ones. But the thing is, what a good show should do, and what a good sort of arc in terms of character should be able to do, is should be able to grip people into actually caring about the characters. And despite the actual generally good quality of sort of TV production throughout this series looked great. You know, it was great, it did look good, and it had a few great stories. But like, the overall arc, I just stopped caring about Clara during this series. I love the Doctor in this, I love the assertiveness, I love the sort of brutal side of it, and some of the stories are brilliant. I really love Into the Dalek, I really love Mummy on the Orient Express, Flatline. There are some brilliant standout episodes in this. I even like the two-part finale. So there are more pluses in this than negatives. It just doesn't hold up for me as well, because a big thing about this series is the companions as well, and they're trying to play the companion off as a normal companion, but you need to really like the companion. And I know that's going to definitely be jumped up when I talk about the Whittaker era series, but with Clara, I just started to dislike her. She was this big impossible girl thing who really cared about the Doctor, and then Series 8 she was like sort of stroppy and is very self-centered, and then Series 9 she becomes just like the Doctor, to the point where I like celebrated when she got killed off. It's just, this is where I really started to dislike Clara, and I think rewatching this series is bits and bats where I'm just like, I can't even watch this. Even Listen, I don't really enjoy as much anymore because of the Clara-centric moments, which is such a shame because I should like Listen. It is a good episode, but it just doesn't stand out for me as much anymore. So yeah, Series 8 is good, but it doesn't really hold up as well as I initially thought. In 10th place we have the specials, the Series 4 specials technically. This is The Next Doctor Through the End of Time Part 2. So let's just talk about that. It is well done, and I do remember really enjoying it, but looking back on it, it's very telling how 2 of the episodes out of 5, and that's another thing to note as well, is it's significantly smaller than all the other series, so it's hard to judge it on the sort of same calibre, but 2 out of 5 of the episodes are crap, and episodes that I really just don't want to rewatch, and that's The Next Doctor and Planet of the Dead. I just don't care about them. Waters of Mars is phenomenal. The End of Time is decent. It's campy and there's bits that I really don't like in it, but I do like it at the same time. It's just sort of it's a weird one, is the specials, because it's got some really high highs and some really low lows for me. The most important thing though is it's consistent. The 10th Doctor is consistently good in this. You really care for the character, you really feel like it's the end of an era, and it does feel significant enough. I don't know what else I can say. Like, it's good, but I can't place it, you know, above other series when there are some significant duds in here that I personally don't really like. In 9th place, we got there eventually, I'm sure people were waiting for this one. Series 11 of Doctor Who, which has definitely gone down since my last ranking. I think it was 7th last time, but now it's gone to 9th. Series 11, some people may be still confused as to why it's higher than like Series 8 or Series 6 or the specials or Series 7. You know, some people put this at the bottom, that's totally fine. For me, Series 11, I respect what it tried to do. It tried to be bold, it tried to be different. It may not have been successful in all its areas, but I can't help but watch it and go, yeah, it's decent, it's enjoyable. There is one episode in this series that I genuinely just have no enjoyment for, and that's the Saranga Conundrum. The rest of them are either good or decent. You know, Arachnids in the UK is hit or miss, obviously, but it's still watchable. And there's a lot of, and this is what I was saying about Series 7 earlier, is like, I'd rather have some just sort of fine episodes than a lot of ones that genuinely like infuriate me. Initially my reaction probably would have been, well, I'd rather have something that gives an emotional response than nothing. But I'd tell you what, I'd take something that's moderately decent with standard writing and standard set. It's not perfect, it could be miles better, but I'll take that over something like, you know, that really just gets to me and really grates me in the wrong way. Like, again, yeah, the series is decent, I do enjoy it. I mean, The Woman Who Fell to Earth I quite enjoy. The Ghost Monument I think is underrated. Rosa's pretty good. Demons of the Punjab is pretty good. Kablam's pretty good. The Witchfinders is underrated. It Takes You Away in Battle Around Skrov Kolos, you be the judge of that, and Resolution I really enjoy. So there's a few duds here and there, but for the majority of the series, the good episodes really stand out for me and are ones that I do remember, and that's probably what's quite important. Personally, for me anyway, that's the way I think about it. I quite like Series 11. You all know that. It's well documented on the channel. But yeah. In 8th place is Series 9. Series 9 is... it's such a mixed bag for me, because on one hand I like it, and I like what it tried to do, and there's some brilliant episodes in there. But on the other hand, it's got a lot of duds. A lot of episodes which I really strongly dislike. And that's never a good thing. So this is what I'm saying in the sense that, like, Series 11 has some alright and some kind of rubbish ones. This one's either got really good ones or really crap ones. And then we go through it, like the underwater one, the, what's it called now? Oh my god, Under the Lake Before the Flood. Great, so underrated, and one of Capaldi's best stories in my opinion. On the other hand, you've got The Girl Who Died and The Woman Who Lived, and it's just, oh god. And the Zygon Invasion and Zygon Inversion, some people like, admittedly, perfectly fine, but an hour and a half of television for a 10-minute speech, a fantastic 10-minute speech, may I add, is not worth it. Because that's an hour and 20 where it's still a bit crap. You know what I mean? Like, I do enjoy the story. People go, oh, but what about the speech? The speech is great. The 10-minute speech is great, but it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes out of an hour and a half of television, a 2-part story, which admittedly I really don't like. Heaven Sent obviously is brilliant. Hellbent is a total flop. Face the Raven's great. The Dalek opener is bearable. The series has got some good highs. When it hits the mark bloody well. But when it doesn't hit the mark, it falls to its never-ending doom. It's horrible. It just annoys you, and I've got some very strong opinions for Series 9, and basically every year it's either going to go up or down in the ranking. It doesn't really matter, because sometimes it depends on what kind of day I'm having. Some days I like it, some days I don't. Some days it's in the middle, and today is just in the middle. In 7th place, we have Series 10. This is going to be one that really shocks people. I'm totally aware of that. Because Series 10, I think, was in my top 3, top 4 last time. So I could totally understand why people might be shocked why this is 7th now. And that's just, like, I don't know. Series 10, Series 10 is one of those ones that I really am trying to like more. Because when I first watched it, I was so astounded by how good it was. And that's because I absolutely didn't like Series 9 at the time, and then I watched The Return of Dr. Mysterio a year later and had absolutely no hope for this series. I was expecting the worst, and I was pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised by decent episodes, and similar to Series 11, it just has some good episodes, some bad episodes, and that's perfectly fine. The finale on this handle, which puts it above Series 11 for me, is the finale is incredible. The World Enough in Time through to Twice Upon a Time is phenomenally good. It's definitely got its flaws, it's definitely got its errors, it's definitely got bits that I don't like, but it, on the whole, is a fantastic story, which I thoroughly enjoy. The Monk 3-parter is hit or miss for me, and then Eaters of Light, Christ, and Empress of Mars, oh, It's like, it's got some great bits. I mean, the pilot's great, and a few of the early ones are quite decent. But, and so is the finale. But all in between, you've got a 12 episode series, and that's fine. But when only 4 of those episodes are genuinely standout, you can't let the opinions of a fantastic finale just sort of gloss over the rest of the series. Because I'm rating the series, I'm ranking the entire series. And when a majority, let's say a majority of the series isn't amazing, then it just sort of flops for me a little bit. In 6th place we have Series 2 of Doctor Who. Again, a bit of a weird one, totally changed my position from last time. This was quite low down, but I think now I've had time to rewatch it, I definitely appreciate it more. Don't get me wrong, it has got some duds. I'm not going to talk about Love and Monsters too much, right? Because Love and Monsters is not the worst episode of Series 2, in my opinion. Hear me out. Love and Monsters is actually decent. The reason it's decent is because it's so ridiculously stupid and so appallingly made and designed and put together that it's just fun to watch. It's just a really, really enjoyable episode, and I don't know how they managed it, but it's probably one of the better ones in Series 2 out of the lot. Fear Her, not a big fan of. What else we got? Idiot's Lantern, again, not a big fan of. Even the Cyberman 2-parter, it's decent, it's got some great ideas in there, I definitely need to give it a rewatch, but it's just average for me. It's just like, that's fine. However, then we look at the other stuff and we talk about New Earth, which I actually do really like. Tooth and Claw's great, School Reunion is beautiful, Girl in the Fireplace, phenomenal, and then the 2-part finale, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, is just brilliant. Genuinely one of the best finales, I think, out there. It's so good, and yes, that could be nostalgia for me, I suppose, but I really enjoy it, and I don't think that should be knocked. So, similar to Series 10 in the fact that it has got a few duds in there, but it's got less duds than Series 10 has. It's got a lot of highs, and a lot of bits that I really, really love. In 5th place, we have Series 12. This is going to come eventually. The Bueckert era is not a big thing for lots of people, but yeah, I quite like it. I think that's obvious with this video. In 5th place we have Series 12, and despite people not overly loving Series 12, again, I respect it. I love the fact that Gjemble's just got all out with it and just been like, well, you know what, you wanted something bigger for Series 12, I'm going to give you something bigger for Series 12, and now everyone's saying it's too big. I love it. It's the chaos that I love. When the Timeless Children hit and watching the internet basically implode on itself was just funny. Let's be honest, it was just funny. I am a big fan of Doctor Who, and I like big changes. I like big shocking changes. Some of them don't work, and it's a little bit concerning when you try and make a timeline of it, but for the majority I still quite enjoy it. Like, I still really enjoy this series. Yes, there's a few duds. Orphan 55, which has got a little bit of Love and Monsters status with the whole Benny thing, but it's still just not a good episode. But then you've got Praxeus and Can You Hear Me, which are also a bit crap. But then you look at the other ones, because Spyfall Part 1 and 2 are so good. They're just really just enjoyable stories. Fugitive of the Jadoon is mind-blowing. Absolutely love it. And the finale is great. I really enjoy it. The whole bit of bringing Gallifrey back. It's just stuff that I never expected to see in Whittaker's era after Series 11. And you know what? It was all kept secret. And that's a big thing for me, right? Series 10, yes, the finale was brilliant. Yes, it was great to have John Sim back. So it wasn't great is having John Sim and the Mondasian Cybermen announced months before the series started. So there was no surprises. You went into the series with no big, ooh, what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. Even the Peter Capaldi fake out regeneration from Lie of the Land was not only in the series trailer, but in the Next Time trailer as well. John Sim was in the series trailer, and in the Next Time trailer. And it's like, oh, what are you doing? You're spoiling everything. Series 12 managed to hide the following: The Master returning, Captain Jack Harkness returning, a new version of the Doctor being in it, and returning to Gallifrey. It managed to hide all of that, amongst Cybermen also returning with about 4 new designs that have been sort of rocking up. And it's just like, you've got to praise it for that. All of those were kept secret. We went into Series 12 expecting, like, you know, Series 11 Part 2, and we all got something that none of us were expecting. Chameleon arcs, like Hidden Doctors, Captain Jack Harkness, The Master, + played by one of the best sort of like master actors that we've had in a while. Now, I love Michelle Gomez and I love John Sim, but Sacha Dhawan just brings something so refreshing to the role, and to have him reveal it after being right in front of our eyes the whole episode in an almost utopia style twist where nobody saw it coming is one of the best moments of Doctor Who I've had in years. Just watching it and just being like, oh my god, what is going on? Same with Fugitive of the Judoon. You sit back and you watch it and you just... It's the excitement of being a Doctor Who fan again. And if series 12, may I add, I've been watching this show since I was 5. And over time, it has degraded on me a little bit. And I mean, the surprises come in less capacity, the shocking twists come in less capacity. And this series was just shocking twist, big reveal, shocking twist, big reveal. And I bloody love it. I really love it because it made me excited to be a Doctor Who fan again. To watch a show that is full of surprises, to sort of throw something from the Doctor Who's past right in your face. I don't think anyone ever expected Captain Jack to ever return, probably. Yet he did. And it's brilliant. It was just really well done. Yes, there's certainly a few flaws. I can't stand Ryan Sinclair as a character. But the series on the whole is such a big improvement and such an exciting thing to watch that you just can't knock it. The CGI is brilliant, the visuals are brilliant, but the storytelling is much better. It's not perfect yet, but it's better. And it's got the surprises, it's got all those elements in, and that just makes it more enjoyable for me, if I'm being honest. In 4th place is Series 3. Series 3 is great. Series 3 is great. It's got, again, a bit similar to that of Series 12, although I was a bit too young to appreciate the whole big twists thing. Having Captain Jack back, having the Master back, it's very similar vibes that it's going for. It's got a few duds, similar to that of Series 12, if we're looking in comparison, but again, I think the highs that this series reaches are higher than what Series 12 reaches, if we're making big comparisons. Like Utopia, Sound of the Drums and Last of the Time Lords is way above The Timeless Children and Ascension of the Cybermen for me. Captain Jack returning in Utopia is a brilliant sort of sequence. Having him with the Doctor for the whole story is great. Now, who knows what will happen in like Series 13, for example? But you know, to compare the two, they're quite similar series. It's a Doctor's second series. It steps it up a bit more. It adds more stakes. It adds more Gallifrey stuff, and it's got the Master. It does more, and I actually kind of like what it does more so than Series 12. So it's not my favourite. It definitely has a few duds in there. Again, the Daleks, Manhattan story. Don't like that. Neither do I like the Shakespeare Code, or Gridlock, or 42. There's definitely duds in there. Probably more duds that I can pick out of this series than I could with like Series 12. However, the highs of this are so incredibly high, and even the duds aren't terrible. They're just bland. So yeah, no, I actually don't mind this series. I really like it. It's one of the ones that sticks out for me. It's not perfect and not as good as anywhere near the top 3, but it's definitely enjoyable. In 3rd place we have Series 5, a standout for me as a little 9-year-old child watching this series of Doctor Who for the first time. David Tennant was my Doctor, and he just left, and he regenerated in this young, scruffy-haired looking, oh no, this isn't my hashtag not my Doctor at that point. And then I watched the 11th hour, and it's as if everything changed. This was suddenly the new Doctor. There's no doubt about it. This is the Doctor. And this series was just fantastic. It was just brilliant. It raised the stakes enough. It kept people interested. And it's the perfect transition you want to have from, let's be honest, 4 consecutively good series to a new showrunner, a new Doctor, new everything. You want this sort of continuation. And Moffat delivered. He did a brilliant job. And, mad respect to him. I really enjoyed it. Bringing back the Weeping Angels for a brilliant story. Victory of the Daleks is passable, but, it's alright. The finale, brilliantly mind-blowing, very Moffat-y, but I still don't mind it. It's still enjoyable. It's overall just a great series. It really brilliantly introduces the new Doctor, the new companions. It's just a good series. Again, has a few duds, but the duds aren't bad. Like Vampires of Venice I don't really enjoy. Victory of the Daleks I don't really enjoy. But they are still good stories. They're still good, enjoyable things that have a lot of plus moments in them. Moments that I still watch to this day. Like, I don't like Victory of the Daleks, but I love the bit where Matt Smith beats the shit out of a Dalek with a sort of lead pipe. I love it. In 2nd place, we have Series 4. Bit of a controversial one. People were probably expecting this to be number 1. as I think it was my previous list ranking, but I've definitely changed my mind since then, and a lot of people have asked this question, like, what's your favourite Doctor Who series, so people would know my answer by now. But Series 4, let's just run by that. Series 4 for me is almost perfection, and you just got to compare the amount of duds, because in first place we have Series 1, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, but if you compare the amount of duds, this series mostly has some brilliant highs, especially towards the back end of the series. Silence of the Library, Forest of the Dead, Midnight, Turn Left, Stolen Earth and Journey's End are all consistently brilliant, and that has a massive impact. I'm not a big fan of like the Sontaran ones and the Doctor's Daughter, and even like Fires of Pompeii, Planet of the Ood, like it's alright, but where this series really kicks off is basically the latter half of the series, and I've got to be fair, it is the most exciting part of the series when we get towards the back end. I do like the series. It has a couple of duds here and there. Not that many, admittedly, and even the duds are still pretty decent stories. It's just, I absolutely adore the end of this series, and that's a big plus for me. And in first place is Series 1. Series 1 has one bad episode, and that's The Long Game. Any other episode in Series 1, I actually like. Rose, really love it. End of the World, brilliant. You know, Unquiet Dead, yeah, it's passable, it's decent. The Slovene ones, fantastic. Including Boomtown, fantastic. Empty Child, Doctor's Answers, brilliant. Dalek, brilliant. Father's Day, phenomenal. And then the finale, Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways, mind-blowingly brilliant. One of the best Dalek stories, still, to this day, that we've ever had. It's a fantastic series. Chris Eccleston as the Doctor is so fantastic. Pardon the pun, that was totally unintentional, but he's fantastic. Rose is actually good in this series. There's no romantic interest element of it. I really enjoy Rose in this. And all the side characters, Mickey, Jackie, it really felt refreshing. And if you were going to bring Doctor Who back on the air after many years of being away from TV screens, this is exactly how you do it. And just look at it. 12 series later, we're still going. I'm making a list of all the Doctor Who series, and it's all to thank Series 1 for. Series 1, to me, is the best New Who series. It's got everything. A brilliant story arc, a fantastic Doctor, some phenomenal writing. Just the amount of passion and time and energy that's gone into this series, you can just feel it when you watch it, and it's so enlightening. I really just love watching this series. It's just great. It is fantastic, if you will. And that's pretty much it. That's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously you're not going to agree with every opinion that I've put forward, but I hope you can understand my placements. I hope I've justified them well enough with what I've been saying about each series. Remember, at the end of the day, it's totally my opinion, and if you want to leave what your top 5 or top 13, just do whatever you want in the comments below. I'd happily have a read to see what all your favourite series are, because I'm sure people have very different opinions, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment below for any more suggestions in the future, subscribe with notifications on if you haven't already, because YouTube's a bit of a mess. Check out the Patreon page if you want some early access content and your name credited in all of my video descriptions, etc, etc, etc. There are more tiers on there if you want to check out, you know, more tiers being prizes, let's just say that. But yeah, go and have a look on there if you are interested in supporting the channel. Again, totally optional though. I've also got Twitter, Instagram, all that sort of stuff, and that's all linked in the description below. And other than that, I will see you all next time. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.